Concord is a much bigger disaster than I stated yesterday. I got absolutely savaged in my comments because I said that it was going to be a $2 million loss for Sony. And everybody's like, John, like, your math is bad. And I don't know, yesterday, maybe I just hadn't had enough coffee yet before I made my videos. I rectified that today. I had 2 cups of coffee and a latte, so I'm caffeinated right now. I'm hype. I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to take on Concord and Sony at full steam ahead right now. But that was bad math. I don't know where I came up with that. I was like, I think in my head I was like, this game could not have cost $200 million to make. There's no single player game. It's just literally a multiplayer clone. They just aped the mechanics from Overwatch. So, I mean, it copy pasta. You would assume that it wouldn't cost $200 million to make. I was wrong. It is a $200 million game. And the sales are abysmal with like maybe $500,000 in sales. So, we're looking at maybe a $199 million loss if if we're being generous. And $2 million was definitely not in the cards. So this is pretty interesting from Hypnotic. We're going to get into this and talk about just what this means for Sony, what this means for woke gaming, as well as the cope that's going on in the mainstream media. Our good friend Paul Tassi, the guy who stands for all these people, is writing a Womp Womp article as well. Funny stuff. Stay tuned with us. My name's John Delarose, everybody. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us as we talk about the most important things in culture and video games, entertainment, and more. I appreciate you for being there. And we're not just a YouTuber who complains about stuff. We create our own wonderful fiction. This is my Hidden Emperor graphic novel, and we're crushing it. It's actually my 3rd best graphic novel sales of all time for one of my crowdfund campaigns. We're about $50 off of of hitting our number 2 spot. And I'd love to get there. So please back this. Back the complete Aileron Adventures. Get started today on this. We got 19 days to go. We're definitely going to hit it. I'd love to get this to number 1 because, that's a couple $1,000s off. We're going to hit that too. And this is a wonderful, wonderful graphic novel. So please check it out. Support our channel. And I appreciate you guys for doing so far. It's in the description below. Okay. Hypnotic made an amazing point when he was talking about this $200 million projected loss for Sony, which took 8 years to make. So yes, that's why it cost $200 million. I don't know what they were doing. Obviously, not creating a single player game, spending that long on things. I mean, they must have been sitting on their thumbs or something in the office there. Or maybe they were just doing constant diversity training modules. I don't know if you're in a corporate job, but you know how they do those modules where they're like, we must be respectful of all races, creeds, and genders, and let's we're going to have a 20-question survey at the end of this 1-hour lecture on how you need to be more diverse and inclusive and respect pronouns, right? Maybe they've been doing those over and over and over again. There's whole consulting firms that come into corporations and grift off that kind of stuff, as we know. And the whole DEI consulting gets even worse than that with Sweet Baby Inc., as we also know. And so he actually compares this to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and how Warner Brothers Gaming lost an epic amount of money on that by people not playing it. Now, even less people are playing this than are playing the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So it's a more abject failure on this level. So I think Concord is in worse shape for Sony than anything else. And they've had a string of a lot of failures lately. They really have. I mean, they've really pissed off their fans. You guys... the internet likes to not remember things after like 2 weeks, but we remember here. And it's Helldivers 2. You remember just a couple months ago, Sony took a brand that was absolutely a huge win for them. Another thing that was just going to be a cash cow for them for a long time. And they pissed off everybody by requiring PlayStation Network logins on Steam and the like in order to even play it, which, made a lot of people who purchased the game not be able to play the game all of a sudden. It created a huge controversy. They pissed off gamers just with their anti-consumer sort of monopolistic tactics, trying to force everybody onto their PlayStation stuff. And, you got the anti-consumer stuff going on. You've got this going on with the woke Overwatch clone coming out. It's a recipe for disaster. It really is. Now, Sony's stock actually went up yesterday, and it went up by about 3%. And I'm not sure why that was, but what they did announce yesterday is that they're going to be price hiking PlayStation 5s in Japan because there's like a shortage, I guess. And so something's happened in Japan. Maybe it's all Stellar Blade. Who knows? That is making waves over there. It's obviously not because of Concord. But so Sony's short term having a little bit of a boost. But with this kind of stuff, you know that there's some long-term problems coming, and we know that there's been a lot of layoffs in the video game industry this year that are going to be coming down the pipeline. Now, there's going to be a thing that pisses off players even more, all dozen of them, who actually bought this game for $39.99 to not even have a single-player mode, who can't find matches on Steam at this point, who get timed out because nobody's playing. At this point, they dropped and wasted their $39.99 because, as Paul Tassi says, free-to-play Concord is inevitable. Now, oops. People were questioning why they wouldn't make it free-to-play to begin with on this sort of type of game anyway, because they're competing with free-to-play games that are frankly better. And so what are they thinking by putting a $39.99 price tag on this? So obviously it's going to drop and come to that point where as they get desperate for people to play, because this is an 8-year, $200 million investment. They're going to try everything they can. But you see, this is a problem. Concord remains at number 40 plus in the PlayStation terms in terms of sales. That's not good. It remained in perpetual decline from its already shocking lows on Steam, opening under 700, peaking under 250 a night. So let's be real, Concord is going to free-to-play is inevitable. While it may be working for now, a continued lack of interest will create problems in the game, ranging from matchmaking, which is already there, to justification for continued support. Fundamentally, it needs more players, and free-to-play, the model every other game in the genre has, is the way to get more players. Pretty interesting thought on that, but I think it's kind of too late in this situation. There's been way too much bad press on this. You got gamers with a sour taste in their mouth. People know that it was $39.99 to start, and so just announcing that it's free-to-play all of a sudden, is that going to generate a bunch of interest in the game? I don't think so. I still think, like, why wouldn't you just go play Overwatch than play this when risk not having all the players? The problem when you don't have players already to start is that's really, really hard to ramp up interest and really, really hard to get people going in. And so once you have that perception that nobody's going to be playing, a lot of people are just not going to check it out. Really ridiculous. And so, they just sold this. It just came out for $40. And so going free to play quickly would not be perceived well by those who had supported the game. Of course it wouldn't. That's gonna piss off their small player base even as it is, which is ridiculous. But they have to do it. They have no choice at this juncture. And then it would be free to play on Steam as well. Putting into the PS Plus instead would not cover that. Given a Steam player base is so anemic, you could choose either to write it off completely or try to boost it a bit with free to play as an additional concern. And then, what are the monetization charges going to be at this point to get this going? So the problem with the idea of free-to-play would significantly change the fortunes of Concord is that we've already seen a trial balloon for this. It did not go well. Weeks before launch, they had a free open beta, and it only drew 2,300 players on Steam and Max. So the open beta had 3 times the amount of players as the actual release. That's not good. That means a lot of people tuned out and said meh, who were checking out the game at that point and not interested in it. Now it's under 10% of what they'd had in the free-to-play beta. So even if it gets up to 2,300 players at its peak, this is not going to justify support for the game. It's not going to keep it going. So I think Sony at this point, it would be well to not even bother. I would just write this off completely, drop support from the game, write it off as a DEI failure, because at the end of the day, like nobody wants to come in and play as this like fat black lady with she, her pronouns when they're trying to play a shooter game. They're just not going to generate interest, whether it's free or it costs $40. It's just not going to go anywhere. And so learn from your mistakes, Sony. Don't do this again, and actually, try to develop something that people actually care about. We've seen this recipe for success already. We've seen Stellar Blade just crush it as the PS5 exclusive. We've seen Black Myth Wukong just continue to crush it. It's obvious what players want. You just got to give it to them. And you made some mistakes. You guys thought the woke agenda was going to be something that was going to be inevitable, and so you went all in on it like every other company out there. It was a failure. Get rid of these people. Get the people who actually care about gaming into your systems and build something new. That's what I think needs to happen here. All right, leave a comment down below about this. Sorry again for saying that it was a $2 million loss when we're looking at this kind of a loss for Sony. That's a big deal. I appreciate you guys for enjoying the content here and your comments. You guys are the best. And when you call me out about something that I'm wrong, I'm gonna change and I'm gonna say I'm sorry. That's right. I'm not like Sony. I'm not like Ubisoft. Hit the like and subscribe button. Please do check out the Hidden Emperor graphic novel. You'll love this. This is a fantastic book. We're so proud of our work here and appreciate you for being there.